Running team is fairly common these days in today's trucking industry, and there are a few good things about running team, but I feel that the advantages are far outweighed by the disadvantages of running team, and that's what we're going to talk about. This video is brought to you by FleetNav Systems, powered by Geotab. If you're a driver and you need Geotab training, FleetNav Systems has the best video training course I've ever seen. It's free and broken up into videos so you can go through it at your own pace. In under an hour, you can be an expert at using the Geotab ELD. First, the advantages. It's a preferred method of training by some of the mega carriers, whether that's good or bad, but it is kind of nice for a new guy to be able to run team with a mentor, with a guy that can help train him and show him how to shift in the mountains, or help him chain up, or help him back in, or even help him hand bomb off the load. There's advantages to that, and there are advantages to being when you're new on the road, having someone there to talk to. Some guys even get lonely on the road, even experienced guys. Some guys like to run team just so they've got a second guy to talk to. But the sad fact of the matter is here that you've got to look at the whole picture when it comes to teams. Now, companies love teams. That's simply a fact. Companies love teams because it allows them to maximize the use of their equipment. It allows them to maximize the hours of service for two drivers. It allows them to keep the customers happy, to get them the freight as quickly as possible, as humanly possible. So it's great for customer service. Customers love that. Finally, carriers love it because truly they're getting two drivers for the price of about 1.5 drivers when you work out the math as to the mileage rate and how they get paid. Also, another fact is that it is virtually impossible for most people to sleep in a moving truck. Now, in the old days, they managed this by the drivers would pill up to drive and pill down to sleep, and this would go on and on and on. Happily, these days, we have drug testing, and that's no longer allowed. So it's easier to sort out the problems in that respect. However, it's a fact that the human body has what they call a circadian rhythm. And basically what that dictates is that the human body is tired at night. Your reaction time goes down, your awareness goes down, your senses drop, and you just naturally get tired when the sun goes down. This is a fact. And to fight that, you are fighting Mother Nature. And that doesn't always turn out for the best. It's also a fact with most teams that out of the two drivers, the senior driver gets to pick which shift he wants, which usually leaves the junior driver on the night shift, which usually leaves the junior driver running tired. And I have a problem with that. You've also got to factor in the pressure that teams are under. Teams are under to run as quickly as possible for as long as possible. And that's pressure on the drivers. It's pressure from the carrier, it's pressure from the customer, and it may even be pressure from the co-driver, to the point that sometimes the guy driving is under so much pressure that he doesn't always make the proper decision when it comes to when and when not to get off the road, forcing him into situations where he's driving at night or in bad visibility or on icy roads. And that's a fact. There's also pressure for team drivers to drive when they're tired, just to meet a schedule. It's interesting to note that no safety group publishes statistics on how many team driver accidents occur with trucks as compared to solo driver accidents. So while the FMCSA says it's legal, and the ATA loves teams because of the profit and the cheap training they can provide, the courts now are quick to recognize problems with teams and are also quick to lay the fault at the feet of the drivers. Look at the two recent cases in the last 2 years that Werner Enterprises suffered through, totaling a cost of $130 million, involving two separate accidents with two separate rookie teams. Look at the cost to Tanya Hightower in Wyoming a couple years ago. The judge found her guilty of driving tired. Even though she had the hours of service, she was driving tired. She killed a four-wheeler, and she's now doing 10 to 20 years for that. The courts are now deciding when it's safe for the truck to be on the road and when the truck should have pulled off the road. It's no longer the driver's call when it gets to court. Bottom line here is, running team can be very dangerous. And I won't do it anymore. I've tried it, but I won't do it anymore. I just don't think it's safe in a lot of instances. And I don't advise you to do it either. Let me tell you the story about my friend Dave Lowe, a well-experienced team driver with a good co-partner. They were out through Saskatchewan in the middle of the night. Dave was in the bunk. The co-driver was tired, didn't see the fact that he was coming up on a trailer with no taillights. The taillights had gone out, the cord had broken or whatever, let go. And Dave's truck slammed into the back of the trailer in front of them at about 60 miles an hour, because this guy had just gotten off the ramp onto the highway. And they were in a cab over. It was back in those days. Dave was spit out from the bunk through the windshield, hit the back of the trailer in front of them, and slid down underneath the wheels. It's stuff like that that happens with team drivers and tired drivers that you just don't want to see repeated. The trucking industry needs to take the inherent dangers of running team far more seriously, and the FMCSA needs to recognize those inherent dangers and act upon them to keep people safer, to keep truck drivers safer, and to keep the motorists around the trucks safer. That's what it's supposed to be all about. It's not all supposed to be about profit. Take care, keep the rubber side down, and I'll see you on the backhaul.